Do you love ordering filet mignon at your favorite restaurant, but you're afraid to make an expensive cut of meat like that at home? It's easier than you think and perfect for your next holiday gathering. My recipe for beef tenderloin with horseradish cream sauce. Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode of Let's Celebrate TV. I'm your host, Peter Lee. On this channel, we teach you all about celebrating. We show you recipes for food, hors d'oeuvres, cocktails, and we share entertaining tips. Now, we try and keep it all very simple, especially for all of you out there who say that you just can't entertain, because we know you really can. So if you like this episode, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and watch a new episode every single week. So today's celebration, as you see, it's still Christmas time. In fact, Christmas is in about 10 days or so. So you're probably wondering about what to do for Christmas dinner. Today, we're going to be cooking a whole beef tenderloin, also known as Chateaubriand or filet mignon if you cut it into little pieces. So let's get started on this. Now this is a whole beef tenderloin. This one's a little over 4.5 pounds. They usually come in your supermarket cryovac. So all you have to do is just open them up and plop them out and they're ready. Now sometimes you'll see some silver skin or sinew on the top. It's a very thin layer of connective tissue. You just want to trim that off because it really doesn't taste very good. You're always going to have little bits, but if there's any big bands of it, you want to get rid of it. If you're afraid, ask the butcher in your supermarket. They'll be happy to do that for you. So now we're going to need to season this because this is the most tender piece of beef ever, but it has a very gentle flavor. So we need to season it up. In my little bowl, I'm going to put a couple tablespoons of salt, tablespoon of pepper. Now, this is an unusual ingredient, and this is something I learned very recently. This is 2 teaspoons of baking soda. You were thinking, what? Baking soda is for cleaning. Trust me on this. Look at this little mix. Now, what is this baking soda going to do? It's going to help the meat brown. It actually is going to change the pH level of the surface of the meat. And that way, because we're going to roast this at a lower temperature, it's going to help it brown. And we don't have to worry about searing it or overcooking it. So we just want to get this liberally all over. And we want to use every single bit of this. You want to really rub it in. Flip him over. Really be generous. Now, this is kind of the fun part. I know some of you are cringing because I'm touching the food, but that's okay. All right, we're going to get this all on every bit that you can. Okay. And if it's on the board too, you just want to roll it around so you get every bit covered in the seasoning. Now here's the fun part. You let this rest now for a whole hour, just as is. Nothing's going to happen to it. So I'm going to go get a cup of coffee while this rests. What it's going to do is it's going to soak in all that seasoning, and it's going to be delicious. Time for coffee. Oh, here we are. It's been an hour. Our meat has been resting here with the seasoning on it. Now it looks a little different, it looks a little darker and a little wet. So the salt has pulled some of the moisture out and now it's pulling it back in with that salt. Now we have to get this ready for the oven. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to tie it. I have here some kitchen twine and I cut several pieces the same length. And we're just going to start in the middle and tie this. What that's going to do is it's going to keep it a uniform shape. So like this end is a little thicker, and tying it will bring it all together. That will help it cook more evenly and keep it juicy and tender. So it's a pretty easy thing to do. Now some chefs do some fancy lassoing. I don't do that. I just cut them and you just tie it in a little square knot. You don't have to go super, super tight, but snug. Okay. And we'll do one here. So I space them out maybe an inch or more, just kind of evenly. So it brings it all together. Okay. Then one on this side. Now a little trick when you're tying this, loop this around twice for the first time, and then it will hold its shape better. And then you just have to loop it in once. I like to alternate sides just to keep it even. Now I know you might be thinking, Pete, this is taking a little more effort than you usually do. But you know what? It's Christmas. And we want our Christmas dinner to be extra special. So a little more effort is worth it. But really, it's not difficult. What have I done so far? I put some seasoning on it, and now I'm tying some string. It's not rocket science. It's not brain surgery. It's just cooking. Alrighty. Almost there. Okay. 2 more to go. Done, and now this last one right here. All right, pretty simple. Just going to be pretty, and we'll just trim off these little loose ends with my shears here, which takes but a moment. Okay, one more there. Now I'll get rid of this. One more step. I'm going to brush it with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. You know what this is. And that's just going to help it, again, it's going to help it brown, keep it moist. Pretty simple. And do both sides. And this is just a generous tablespoon of olive oil that I have here. Just enough to give it a coating. Alrighty, now I'll put this on the pan. Note, in my pan I have a rack. Some people will put in a rack, instead of a rack, they'll use various vegetables and aromatics, but I'm keeping it simple today. Put it in. This is going to go into the oven, which is preheated to 300 degrees, and it's going to roast low and slow. Now we want to roast it till it's about 120 degrees. Now that's going to take, for this size roast, which is just about 4.5 pounds, 5 pounds, it's probably going to take about 45 to 50 minutes. The only way to be sure is to use a thermometer. Now I have one of those fancy probe thermometers. So I'm just going to put this in the nice deep part here. This end will hook up to the thermometer while it cooks, and it will tell me when it reaches 120 degrees. Now before we put this in the oven, we're going to do a sauce. We're going to make a horseradish cream sauce to go along with this. And it's very, very simple. And it's going to take about the same amount of time to make this sauce as it is for this to cook. How do we get started? First, it's heavy cream. I have back here my little stove just a pot, and a quart of heavy cream. It's very, very simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this cream to a boil, and then we're going to turn it down to a simmer and let it reduce. And as it reduces, it's going to get very, very thick. And that's going to take a little while to do because you don't want to rush it or you'll burn it. So this will go back here. And now this is going to go into my 300-degree oven. And when we come back, we'll finish the sauce and we'll do the tasting. Okay, here we go. Our meat is out of the oven. Took about 45 minutes, as I expected. Let's take a quick peek. Now I took it out and put it on the board, loosely covered with foil, very loosely. Just let it rest for about 15-20 minutes. So here we go. Wow. Beautiful mahogany. That trick with the baking soda works. Now, before we get started with this, I'm going to let it continue to rest. We're going to finish up that sauce, that creamy horseradish sauce I told you about. So we have our beautiful cream, which has reduced by more than half. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's even gotten a little golden in color, and it smells wonderful. So we're just going to add some horseradish. So what I like to do, just a couple of healthy spoonfuls, because I like that spice from the horseradish. We'll try and get some of the liquid out. Start off with 2 heaping spoons. Give it a little whisk. And then, of course, look at the steam coming off. Taste it for how hot you like it. We're also going to add a little pinch of black pepper. I know some of the purists out there will say, use white pepper, but I don't like the taste of white pepper. I prefer black pepper. And look, it disappears as soon as you stir it. Let's have a little taste. That's pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit more. Now, I didn't add any salt to that because the horseradish has salt in it. So you really want to be careful and taste for seasoning. You can always add salt, but it's tough to take it out. Okay, that should be good. I'm going to put this aside, right over here. Now let's talk about our beef. Here we go. The first thing we want to do is take off the ties, kitchen shears, and you're just going to get in and snip it, and it comes right off. Pretty simple. Okay, so we'll just do that. We'll take off all the pieces. And you see how keeping it tied helped it keep its shape. Okay. 3. And again, if this is the toughest part of making this meal, then you can do it. I expect you to do it. Okay, one more after this. Right here at the end. Alrighty. Now, letting it rest for the 20 minutes. You see I have some juice on here, and you can let it rest a little more. And that will make all the juices just come back in. But I just can't wait tonight. So I'm going to start cutting it at the thicker end up here because I like it on the rarer side. If you like it more well done, well, I'm sorry, but you would want to have it from the thinner side. But we'll start up here. And I'm just going to cut a nice... Wow. Look at that. That is perfectly cooked, medium rare. I can't wait to try this. So I'm going to cut myself a slice. Oh, look at that. Let me get rid of this. And we'll put this right here. A little drizzle of the sauce. Now, of course, on Christmas Day, you would want to put this sauce in a beautiful little container or a bowl or a gravy boat. Because it's Christmas, after all. Before I dig into this, I need one more thing. Just one more little thing. You know, I need my wine and my favorite crystal goblet, my green crystals. Doesn't have the gold rim like I would like for all my Grey Garden fans out there. But I'm going to have my favorite Merlot from the Old Field Winery, Vineyard and Winery out on Long Island. So we'll have a little of that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now, let me just tuck in and taste this. Cuts like butter. Almost. Okay. Wow. Wow. That is tender. It's perfectly seasoned. The horseradish sauce has that nice little tang of horseradish, and the creaminess just gives it a richness and unctuousness. Now I need a sip of wine. That's perfect. So that is our episode today. Beef tenderloin with a creamy horseradish sauce. Simple, easy, and a crowd pleaser for sure. Now, as always, guys, I will have this recipe up on YouTube, and I'll have all the exact measurements of all the ingredients. And please comment to us on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. We love hearing from you on Facebook too. And we would love to see pictures of your holiday feasts. So whether you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever, send us in some pictures. That's our episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Merry Christmas to all of you. I'm your host, Peter Lee. Cheers.